Jack's like, who's Garth Brooks?
No, I know who he is. I just don't listen to him that much.
Name 2 songs of Garth Brooks.
Oh, man.
Sweet Home Alabama.
No.
Oh, gosh.
No, I can't name his songs.
Yeah, Jack, like, wow.
Legs up. Work on the legs.
Hey guys, welcome back to the second episode of the BFIT podcast. Last week we had a Q&A. This week we've got more of a direct topic that Cody is going to explain. So without further ado, let's get into it.
What's up, BFIT members, and anyone else tuning in from wherever you are? We're just going to talk about real quick, for our BFIT members, we are going to have a survey here at the end of May, beginning of June, to kind of ask you guys your feedback on your goals, you know, specific movements, gymnastics, conditioning, stuff like that. But today we're going to kind of do some more educational format of the very first question, which on the survey asks your long-term fitness goals. I think there's 4 options on there. First one would be aesthetics, which is, you know, how your body looks, okay? Second one would be strength, you know, strength goals. And the third one is conditioning, like your conditioning goals, essentially, you know, how fast, you know, how well you can breathe. Okay, fourth one would be other, which would be more specific or, you know, anything along those lines, whatever. Yeah, that we can cover in a podcast topic, or, you know, you can shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram, somewhere along those lines. All right, so we're going to dive into which one are we starting with, boys?
I think, let's start at the top. What's A?
I should also clarify that these are not mutually exclusive, all right? So, you know, one is not like aesthetics, okay? You're not going to necessarily get aesthetics without doing strength. You know, you're not going to get, you know, strength, but you're also going to get aesthetics, and, you know, vice versa.
They are very interwoven.
Yes, they are tangled together. So aesthetics essentially is just, you know, how your body looks, okay? That would be a goal. You want to change how your body looks.
I've been telling Heidi for a long time. I mean, I just am constantly on the LGN diet.
LGN?
LGN?
Okay. Look good naked.
Look good naked
what are you
diet.
talking about?
It's like 16 years, 15 years since we've been married.
I think a lot of people, would like to be, would go down that one.
Tammy Miller wishes Kurt Miller would be on the LGN diet. That's a call out to you, Kurt.
We're getting very intimate here on the podcast.
Yeah. Left me kind of speechless with that comment. Anyway, going forward, okay, when you hear like aesthetics, you know, a lot of people think like bodybuilding, you know, bodybuilders getting on a stage and like, you know, staying up there in a, you know, bikini, staying up there in short shorts, whatever. That's not necessarily what we're talking about. We're just talking about more so improving, you know, your body, what you think of your body. Not that your body is. We're gonna have to cut that out. That's not what I was.
I want to make a comment about Mike holding shorts. I mean, you're talking about bikinis. You're talking about bikinis. So go ahead,
Bro. Why are you just calling people out right and left, Brad?
Well, you know, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Just fire.
Mike Holden's shorts. What about Mike Holden's abs though? Those have gotten,
you know what? He is Batman.
Those have gotten like
9-pack.
5 comments in the past 2 weeks,
right?
man. His banker buddies are like, "Whoa, Mike!
That's right.
Didn't know there was
I'm
you were
Batman.
packing under there."
I'm awesome. I got a 9-pack. That's Mike Holden.
Oh, that clip is blowing up whenever I post it.
You gonna try that one again?
Yeah. So I'll kind of go down the road. So
Also, so you know, the mic picks up right there. I forgot to tell you.
Oh.
So like, don't hold it like that. Hold it like that.
okay, I'm gonna change my.
We need to get him like a stand or something.
Yeah.
I need to get those mics that have like the arm that can
Come up.
yeah,
That'd be ideal.
those are like $500. So
Ooh, don't have that kind of budget. We got some slinkies and some
Slinkies.
I don't know, something like hang from the ceiling.
Just wire it up. Wire in a
We'll
tie.
we'll get Grandpa Rick on that.
There we go. He can figure it out.
He can figure it out. Back to the focus.
Yep. So the aesthetic goal would be more so just improving your body image, what you think of yourself. Okay. If you, for some reason, believe that you need to improve that, that is what that goal is geared towards.
Maybe even just like existing clothing, I know for me, like I always feel comfortable. Like when my t-shirt fits good, my XL t-shirts, I'm like, okay, I'm doing pretty good. When it kind of gets like tight through the mirror right here, I'm like, ooh, need to cut back on some donuts.
And that's a good way to also measure progress. So, a lot of people don't like stepping on the scale because of the number, and I get that. But that's a good way to measure progress is like the same clothes that you tend to wear often and just measuring how they fit on your body, that you can like get a good measure on like what direction you're trending in.
I kind of get excited like as the seasons change. Like I haven't put on some shorts since like last year. Like I'm kind of excited. Like, hey, when I put these shorts on, how are they going to fit? Are they going to be better than last year? Are they going to be tighter than last year? That kind of helps. That's honestly how I gauge a lot. Yeah. Like,
Especially after our 2 squat cycles,
I know, right? Goodness. Thunder thighs.
We got a third one coming up here in a couple months, or like in a month or two. So
thick thighs save lives, right, man?
All right, so talking about squats, that'll lead into the strength portion. All right, which strength, I'll give my opinion on this. So for longevity's sake, I don't toss around, best, better. I think strength training is probably the best for your longevity. All right. Studies showing like grip strength is a direct measure of lifespan. All right. So like, grip strength. Well, that's just an easy way to measure it. It's just like on a dynamometer, just squeezing it. Like your grip strength is a good measure of longevity. Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to start doing farmer's carry daily.
Grip strength, and then strength training. And then also, most people would say, as you get older, you tend to lose your balance. Okay. You tend to hear older people tend to falling and, potentially breaking something, and that's hard to recover from at an older age, where strength training will help combat that by improving your balance, by making you stronger. Majority of the time, the stronger you are, the more balance you're going to have, the easier it is to stay upright and get up and down off the ground if you do happen to take a tumble.
Which I agree 100%. Your body is supported that way. The stronger you are, the less stress on your bone structure, on your meniscus, on your elbows, your knees, your hips. So if you've got these muscles that are strong in all areas and not just, like whether it's single leg, or both legs, single arm, unilateral, bilateral, whatever it is, definitely we want you guys to be as strong as possible.
We want you to be strong in all facets.
Exactly.
We don't want to be just strong. Not we don't want to be, but some people, if that's their goal, we're not all trying to be powerlifters. Okay, we're not all trying to do 1 rep maxes, every 12 weeks, so on. We're trying to have a good general overall strength. All right, and that'll include bilateral, using both limbs at the same time, a back squat. That'll include unilateral, doing a step up, doing a lunge, okay? Because whenever you're walking down the road, running or whatever, you're on 1 leg at a time. You're never just standing on 2 legs unless you're just not moving. But if you're moving, you're going to be on 1 limb at a time.
Yep. So we're a very, very unilateral creature. Mm-hmm. And that's, a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah. I think that's probably one of the things, I miss at times too, it's as a trainer, I always have to go back and check my programming like, okay, am I getting enough, all the different planes, frontal, sagittal, rotational, unilateral, bilateral, all those different things into my athlete's programming.
Because a lot of times whenever, as a strength athlete, whenever someone does come upon like a plateau, like, man, I just can't get any stronger at this back squat. One thing I like to do is check their single leg strengths. And if you find a lot of times 1 leg is weaker than the other, you're only going to be as strong as your strongest leg can handle. So if that weak leg's really trailing behind, you're putting a lot of, you're using a lot of energy on that 1 leg, and it can only carry the load so far. So kind of taking a step back from a bilateral exercise, say the back squat, and doing some step ups and lunges, bringing that weaker side up is going to probably bump your back squat number up, even though you're not doing back squats.
Yeah. My college cross country coach always said that running is a 1-legged sport. Since you're like, when you're running, you're only keeping your whole body up with 1 leg at a time because the other one is always up, So, yeah, it's cool. So I hear you saying there's 3 different facets, basically, if we were to categorize it, there's basically 3 different kind of areas: strength, conditioning, and aesthetics. So my next question is like how.
Do we want to explain conditioning first since we haven't went down that road?
Oh yeah, we did the first two,
Yeah,
but
we
we
did
haven't
aesthetics,
done.
we
Yeah,
did
go ahead.
strength.
Go ahead and
What does
explain.
conditioning
Yeah,
look
what is
like?
conditioning? Then I'll kind of ask the next
Sorry, not
question.
to cut you off.
You want to lead this one, and I'll intervene as I see
So,
fit?
Yeah, strength is great. Conditioning is something I think has multiple like benefits. I think for one, I think conditioning can be not for everyone. There's some people who absolutely hate conditioning and they would literally rather not work out than do conditioning. There's some people who absolutely love conditioning, I think for multiple reasons. One, the endorphin release when they're finished, right? Two, the stress relief. And I know that's probably my biggest thing is me doing a heavy back squat or a heavy clean and jerk or snatch, I don't get the stress relief that I get from like a 20-minute or a 15-minute Metcon. Kind of like today, I was so much more like I don't know, in a better headspace after doing 62 back squats in our Metcon than had I been doing like say 12 heavy back squats. And that's just me. I know there's all sorts of people, but the conditioning side I think brings, like I said, some endorphin release for certain types of people. It brings stress relief, but also it brings about, I think, a sense of accomplishment just as much as the strength side. The strength side might be easier to measure because you do see just numbers going up, but conditioning, I think people can walk away from and think, okay, I just accomplished X, Y, and Z in this amount of time. And man, I feel better about that. I feel good about that. And I think that that's the thing that I love seeing when people accomplish a hard workout or a hard conditioning session, that it does give them something other than just lifting heavy weights. I think that the monostructural side is probably something we need to do probably a better job at, of just attacking, like calorie sprints, biking, rowing, stuff like that. Because it doesn't always need to be, you know, you know, tons and tons of movements. So, but I think people enjoy that, and so it's like one of those things I want to give people when they're conditioning, doing muscle ups or handstand push-ups or snatches and different things inside of a conditioning aspect. I think people get excited about that, and so giving them what they want may not always be what's best, but giving them
That's
like
what I was going to
excitement.
say. So not to intervene, but
Yeah.
what people want, like I said earlier, maybe not in the podcast, before we started filming, what people want necessarily isn't always what's best for them. And I think that's where it's our job as a coach and a trainer to kind of do what we're doing right now, to kind of try and educate our athletes on what might be best for them. Because, yeah, it feels good in the short term to get your heart rate up, to, smash your body doing this Metcon. But, okay, what is that doing for us in the bigger picture? So that is putting a lot of stress on a body. So someone who's super stressed coming in, be like, man, I just want to do some stress relief. I'm just gonna hammer my body. Okay. Well, that is a very large stressor in itself that you are just adding more, because it doesn't necessarily. There's a saying, stress is stress is stress is stress. Okay. The body doesn't necessarily see what kind of stress it is. Now, there can be a good stress and a bad stress, but getting that heart rate jacked up and sustaining that for a long amount of time, that kind of I'm just going to use Jack as an example here. For a long distance runner, okay, that's telling the body's like, hey, we're trying to survive here. We need to do our best to survive. We need to be very good at not using a bunch of calories. So that is essentially going to make our metabolism more efficient, okay? So our body's going to get really good at not burning a lot of calories doing these high-intensity things, which is the opposite of what we want. Does that make sense? I know Brad wasn't in here for that.
Sorry,
Versus something to where, because to go a little bit deeper into the science things, I'll try to make it easy as possible. Muscle is an expensive tissue. It takes a lot of calories to maintain that, okay? Whereas if we're doing high-intensity things all the time, okay, that's telling our body we don't need that muscle. So it's going to burn calories, and it's going to take it from the most expensive tissue. which is muscle. So that's the easiest thing that'll break down. So going back to the goals aspect, if someone's goals is to more so build strength, then I would push them more towards that route. Not saying that we should not be doing conditioning at all, but I do think that it is probably less important in the big picture of things. All right. Now
And I think that's the question. Is it comes down, and that's why we're asking the survey for the goal. Excuse me. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why the survey, because, I think you're talking about the body getting used to things. I think that's one of the reasons why we try to vary our programming of like sprints and like longer, bigger sets, try to vary inside of the Metcons or the conditioning pieces to try to help with that. Because, if we can get you to sprint for 90 seconds, just go back to today's, that row, we're pushing that as hard as we can for a 3-minute interval. Whereas, tomorrow it's going to be a 27-minute workout. So even in there, we're changing that up enough to where the body, we're hitting the different metabolic pathways, and that's going to help the body not get used to it though. And so that's why the conditioning side, I think, is beneficial for those even doing strength training, because when we're doing deadlifts, 60 deadlifts at say 225, there's gonna be some lean muscle mass built in that. It's not.
I agree. Yeah.
I feel like you cringe every time someone says conditioning, Cody. You're like,
Yeah, he does.
oh, God. What is that? What is that?
Because I do. I mean, so I do conditioning, and is what we're talking about CrossFit here, 3 to 4 times a week, and that's because I enjoy CrossFit. I like to do local competitions and be like competitive at CrossFit, because I think Brad's asked me that question before, like, well, why do you do this if this isn't like what your thought process is? And I'm like, well, because I enjoy the sport of CrossFit.
And our members come to a CrossFit gym.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. But it's not the only thing. I mean, that's the biggest thing I think we communicated last time is like, there's multiple, wasn't that in this, or was that my college class? I think that was in my college class.
It's probably still good content here.
But there's multiple avenues of fitness. I mean, like we have a couple of members doing the powerlifting and the strongman. You know what I mean? Like, if they want that, we can definitely do that. It's just that's a smaller division of what our gym is.
Yeah, and I just think it's good that like our members can see that we're not just stuck in like this is what is best. This is what we are gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it. Like we want to be offer these other options. We do that with our like one-on-one stuff. We do have we are a CrossFit gym, and like you said, I think we could do better at doing certain things, which we've talked about, and we're working on implementing that.
That's the start of the survey. You know what I mean? That's the whole reason we want, and that's the reason the podcast here is like, we want to hear from you guys what your goals are. And then secondly, we're trying to educate you guys on.
To maybe kind of going back to what we talked about, be more educated on, and make you kind of think about like, man, what do I want to achieve with this? Like, am I trying to, improve my body composition? Am I trying to get stronger? Which, like I said, none of this is mutually exclusive. It kind of all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, because you're going to get stronger doing conditioning. If you're doing, like I said, all those deadlifts, you're going to get stronger. You're going to get conditioning if you're doing.
Yes. Hold on. But again, this comes back to, going back to the goal. Like, you might get stronger. You will probably get stronger if you are doing lifting in a conditioning style circuit, but you will not get as strong as you potentially could or want to be by focusing solely on strength.
Yeah. Oh, agreed, 100%.
So that's where it kind of comes down to, and that's where I find that I like to find the balance of I'm focusing on strength training first. Doing my lifting first to send that signal to my body to be like, hey, I want to build this muscle mass. And then I will do a Metcon or conditioning aspect after, anywhere from 2 to 4 times a week. Okay, because like I said, like in my thoughts, but I think this is in general, strength training should be the basis of the majority of fitness programs, unless you are in a specific niche of doing Ironmans, doing long distance running like that. Like if you're doing marathons, you probably don't need to do strength training more than once a week. Okay, stuff like that. But for the general pop who's trying to look good naked, I think probably weightlifting should probably be the basis of most programs, which we do that here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's fun. This is what's great about this. We go round and round. Obviously, you guys probably
This has been going on for 5 years,
Yeah,
6 years
exactly.
now. So
Yeah. Cody feels very, very passionately about more heavy-ended strength training. I feel more of like it's a good balance of both. And I think if we can vary inside of the conditioning part, we can meet a lot of the same goals as he's talking about with the strength training. But I will agree that unilateral, bilateral, especially unilateral stuff is easily overlooked, and that's just when we do step ups and we do like single arm stuff.
we know that it's probably kind of boring to you guys, but
Good.
yes, this is where the trainer comes in and makes you do probably more of what you need versus what you want. And we know that you guys hate it, but
Yeah,
we
step
know it's good for
step
you.
ups are so much more boring than running, dude. I was so mad when Cody changed the running to a row for
Today?
today's workout. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so ready to run.
But that was a great change. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, it's funny. So like Cody's like, what'd you just say? Cody's like kind of strength,
Cody's
like pushing
Cody's
strength.
definitely heavier on the strength end. I'm definitely more of like strength is a necessary tool so that I can condition.
And you can, yeah.
know
And
what
then
I'm
you
saying?
hired
Is that-
me, who's all conditioning.
All conditioning, yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
strength allows me to do what I do, you know what I mean? To do what I enjoy. Because if I'm not strong enough, I can't do the higher end movements that I want to do.
Yeah. So wrapping up, we've talked about aesthetics, strength, conditioning.
This is also to be continued on another podcast, I'm sure. This will be a never-ending debate.
Cody's just gonna talk about it with you guys in your class. Be like, guys.
Did I see your eye roll when I said that? Did you get a couple eye rolls over there?
Said what? Probably. It was probably just a never-ending eye roll the whole time. No. I like most of what we said.
Yes. So we've talked about all three. Wrapping up here in the last 3 minutes. So how have you guys as like coaches and programming the workouts, how have you guys been thinking about and implementing all three of those? And then with this survey coming out that we're going to ask our members, how are we going to better kind of like individualize workouts to get people to where they want to go? So I don't know, how have we thought about those three categories in the past, and how are we going to think about them in the future?
Well, so like we said, aesthetics kind of comes with both. So if people are, if that is a bigger one, which that'd be cool. We could probably program I don't know, more bodybuilding style in, a little cycle on a certain day for an extended amount of time, or it can vary. We're still kind of looking at things.
We kind of want to start with a response from our people. I think that's kind of a good place.
Yeah, and that's why the programming isn't really going to change or take effect until we can get the responses and kind of take a step back at the because we kind of have things lined out for the rest of the year. But depending on these responses, we're going to take a step back and see if we can implement kind of things here and there towards what you guys respond and what you guys are looking for.
Well, certainly. And I think one idea, hey, on Mondays and Thursdays, we always do a heavy strength accessory, a heavy strength portion, and then normally kind of like a sprint type of conditioning piece. In that, if somebody doesn't want to sprint, kind of making it there where that could be a bodybuilding aspect.
An optional thing.
Bodybuilding thing.
So we do a strength, we do an accessory, and then there's this short little 6-minute window to do 3. Okay, call it 3 1-minute bike sprints with a little rest in between. If someone's here for the conditioning aspect, they'll get their conditioning in because that will leave you on the ground asking you, why did I choose to do this conditioning aspect? Or we'll give you some extra lifting. If you're more geared towards the bodybuilding or aesthetics side, you can choose to do that. And you can Metcon another day of the week, stuff like that. We're going to try to not overload you in a class setting, but also provide a little bit of options makes it
more individualized.
Yeah, more something that you have a choice in what you want to do.
Yeah, because we want to make sure we're meeting. I think Cody's heart and my heart, even though it sounds like we argue a little bit.
We're arguing about more so the minutia of things. Then you guys are all here working out, which is great, and we're just we have minor disagreements on how we want to work out, but we all want you working out. Go ahead.
What I was going to say was his heart is so passionate for you guys to be at your best. And my heart is, hey, I want to make sure we meet you where you are. And so when you put somebody who wants to push you to meet your greatest goals and somebody who has a heart to meet you right where you are, when we mesh those together, sometimes it's hard. But I feel like it's the best of both worlds. And so we can hopefully give you the best product and make you the best athlete that you're wanting to be.
And I will say, I don't think that's mutually exclusive either. Like, I think we each both want both of what he just said.
He wants what's the best for you guys, and I want to push you as hard as I can. Yeah. I mean, that was just a question the other day on Instagram. Why is Brad the way he is? Or that was in our last. And I actually called and sent the video to Rick Perry, and he laughed about it. So, but no, you guys got the greatest heart, and I can sure be mean on pressing, and he can sure be mean, and I've got some people say it's a stone heart, but
I'd like to hear someone tell me that I've been mean to them. I maybe could have been, but I really would be curious. I try not to be, but I could have been.
No, I've definitely been mean to people.
Talk about grip strength, man. This mic is tearing my forearm up. My goodness.
3 pounds, dog.
Yeah.
Oh, man, 20 minutes straight is just death gripping this thing.
Nice.
He's getting
Conditioning. Well, hey, I've got another phone call I got to take, so.
Cool, yeah.
All right.
We'll wrap it up.
Me and Jack got it.
All right, thanks, guys.
So scratch everything that Brad just said, and we're going to start this all over again.
Thank you guys for watching episode 2 of the podcast. We hope that gave you guys some education and a better thought process of what your long-term goals are when you're working out, either aesthetics, conditioning, or strength training. Yeah, we're excited to see what you are working towards when we send out that survey at the end of the month towards June. We'll see you on the next episode of the BFIT Boys. Got to plug it.
Like, subscribe, share it.